الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. One of the special rizq or blessings that Allah gives a person is to be invited to the majlis of Sayyida Fatema alayhi salam. Not everyone is given this blessing. If you think in our city where people are Friday night, for example, or there'll be Saturday night, see that Allah truly has favored you, has favored me, to be able to come together and to mourn for our true mother, Sayyida Fatema alayhi salam. Because there's a lot of blessings when you mention her name. One of the ulama said, I'm going to say this, but maybe people will make fun of me in the newspapers tomorrow. That he said that I believe that the abaya or chador of Sayyida Fatema is worth more than the entire galaxies. That just her abaya is worth more than the galaxies. So to make Rasulullah happy, inshallah, to make her husband Imam Ali and her children Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, Kulthum, Sayyida Zainab happy, we come tonight to mourn her martyrdom, as they mentioned that from the first Fatimiyya tonight, when you look at the calendar, the martyrdom should be tonight according to the first Fatimiyya. There's actually other Fatimiyya, some other cultures, the 40th after the rihla and departure of Rasulullah. Some cultures also, they have the 40th. Some do the 75th Fatimiyya first. Others do the 95th days. The reason for the 75th and the 95th is that Arabic didn't have dots. And Tis'een, which is 70 and 90, for example, and you have, for example, Sab'een, these didn't have dots, so they can read them either 70 or 90. So it becomes 75 or 95. And that's the reason why there's some ikhtilaf. But regardless, from these three dates, there's also other dates. It's not very known exactly when she was martyred, just how we don't know the specific place that she has been martyred, and we don't know her specific status that she has. Is incomparable for us. And she has been compared to Laylatul Qadr, the night of destiny. Whoever understands her has understood Laylatul Qadr. She has many different names, titles, technonyms. When you look at the lives of the Imams, the Prophets, you see that the Imams have a name. For example, we have Ali alayhi salam, the 8th Imam. His title is Ar-Rida, the satisfied, the content. So each Imam has titles, has names. These names are there for a purpose. The names of the Imams, the titles of them all signify something, so that you can learn more about them, learn more about their time period. For example, you have the kunya of Abul Qasim, for example, for Rasulullah, right? Abul Qasim, beautiful name. But sometimes there's even a mystery inside some of these technonyms. For example, Abul Qasim, which is the father of Qasim, right? Father of Qasim. Rasulullah had 2 or 3 sons. All of them passed away. We'll mention tonight. He had, according to Sayyid Ja'far Murtada Amali, he only had 1 daughter. The other 3, he has a book that the Banatun Nabi, that these are adopted. He only had 1 daughter, and the 3 sons that he had, 2 or 3 sons, they passed away before. So the only living progeny he had was from Sayyida Fatema alayhi salam, which we'll mention. So Abul Qasim is father of Qasim. This is the superficial, or this is the literal definition. Does it have a meaning inside it? There's tradition, or there's sayings that why is he considered Abul Qasim? Because he is the father of Amir al-Mu'mineen. he is the father of Imam Ali alayhi salam, who's Qasimul Nari wal Jannah. He is the separator of heaven and hell. Therefore, Rasulullah is Abul Qasim, he's his father, his teacher. Sometimes you might ask me, how do you say this? Why do you say that Imam Ali is the separator of heaven and hell? Did you know that Ahmad ibn Hanbal, even Sunni scholars like Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he believed that Amir al-Mu'mineen was Qasimul Jannah wa Nar. He was the separator of heaven and hell. And someone comes and asks him, it's in this book called Taba'iqul Hanabala, the different tabaqa and categories of Hanbali shuyukh, for example, people that are Hanbali. They come and ask him, he says, do you believe that Ali alayhi salam is the separator of heaven and hell? To Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Who is he? He's from the four madahib of Ahlul Sunnah. He's one of them, holder of one of those titles. He says, do you believe that whoever loves Ali alayhi salam is a mu'min? He says, yes. Man, yuhibbu Ali is a mu'min. It's a tradition from Rasulullah. Sahih tradition from Rasulullah that hubba Ali alayhi salam is equal to iman. Then he says to him and asks him, do you believe that whoever has hatred and has bughd of Ali alayhi salam is a munafiq? La yabghuduhu or la yabghuduka illa al-munafiq. Do you believe that the hater of Ali alayhi salam is a munafiq? He says, yes. So he says, I ask you, where is the place of the mu'min? He says, heaven. Where is the place of the munafiq hypocrite? He said, hell. So therefore Ali is the separator of heaven and hell. Whoever loves him goes to heaven. Whoever has hatred of him is a hypocrite, will go to the hellfire. This is not a saying from a Shia alim, this is Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So therefore we see these titles and asma, epithets or titles or technonyms, these all signify something that have deep meanings. What are the names of Sayyida Fatema? What are the titles of Sayyida Fatema? How can we get to know her more by these names? I'm going to mention a few of these names that we have in our books that our ulama have compiled some of them. This list that I have is from one of our scholars. He has these titles and names. For example, Az-Zahra alayhi salam. Zahra means the luminous, bright. Az-Zahra means bride. And the way she would worship, she would cause light and nur when she would worship Allah. We'll get into some of these in detail. We have Al-Adra, chaste. We have Al-Ma'suma, her titles, infallible. Brothers and sisters, this is a good time for opportunity for you. If you have a child, look through this list. If you have a daughter, inshallah, choose from one of these. One of the best things to do is name your children with names of Imams and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. This is one of the best things to do. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, how many Alis did he have? Imam Zain al-Abidin, once they say Marwan comes to him, Marwan ibn Hikam comes up to him and says, why is your name Ali? What is your brother's name? He says, Ali. So he said, for example, to him, did your father not know any other names? And then he comes back and tells Imam Hussein alayhi salam, what Marwan said to him. He says that I have had so many children, I would name them, just paraphrasing, all of them Ali. Why? Because maybe we understand this, that Imam Hussein alayhi salam was doing cultural jihad to spread the name of Ali. To spread the name of Ali so that the world can be full of Ali. Today, when you have your children, for example, you name them Muhammad, Ali, Fatima, Hassan, and Hussein, that name, especially in the US, causes people to study that person. Says, I name Muhammad, who is he? Who is he? Ali, who is he? He asks, why are you named Ali? Who's Hassan, Hussein? Automatically, you're getting reward because they want to study about that person. But if you put a non-Imam name or non-Islamic name, it's not going to have barakat, it's not going to cause blessings. And even worse than that is those who change their Islamic name, for example, and they become something else. For example, they're Muhammad, they become Mo, for example. Or Ali, they become Alf, whatever. I understand sometimes it's just easier But then you miss the whole point of introducing and being connected to Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Because one of the best names the tradition has, when your son is named Muhammad, it causes barakat for you. It causes barakat. So we have these beautiful names you can choose. Inshallah, you have lots of daughters Allah gives you. Al-Ma'asuma, Al-Hawra Al-Insiya, an angel in the form of a human. Al-Hurra, the free. Al-Hurra. Al-Mubaraka, the blessed. Some of these titles will be mentioning tonight. Al-Batul, the one who is separated. We'll talk about what Batul means in one of the tafsirs. Al-Tahira, the pure. Al-Hasan, chaste. Al-Zakiyya, pure. Maryam al-Kubra, which is the great Maryam. Al-Radiyya, the content. As-Siddiqa, the very truthful. Mardiyya, Nuriyya, Radiyya, Samawiyya, Sayyida Nisa al-Alameen. Al-Haniya, Al-Mansura, Al-Muhaddatha, Al-Zahida, Al-Tayyiba, Al-Taqiyya, Al-Barra, Al-Mutahhara. Do not, take that name, inshallah, that's reserved. Al-Shahida, Al-Siddiqa, Al-Rashida, Al-Fadila, Al-Naqiyya, Alima, Gharra, Al-Mahdiyya, Al-Safiyya, Al-Abida, the worshipper. Al-Qanita, always worshipping God. Al-Mutahajjida, one who is awake at night. Please recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So you have a daughter, you have this list I can share with you. You can choose, inshallah. It's even better to name them before they're born. Before they're born, when the spirit comes in, to name them before they're born, inshallah. Don't wait until they're born. Now they say, what do you want to name them? You're thinking, where did the Sayyid put this list? Or you have to call me, for example. Think of when they're before when the spirit comes into them, you can inshallah choose one of these names. She also has technonyms. Abiha, the mother of her father. Al-A'imma, the mother of the Imams. Hasan, Hussein, and Muhsin, who was never born. How many Saadat would we have from Muhsin? Some say that the Saadat, the progeny of Rasulullah only goes to Sayyida Fatema, and it's from Hassan and Hussein. How many? Some say calculated as millions, maybe 70 million at least. Those are Rasul. How many more would we have if Muhsin was alive? How many more would we have if they didn't attack her house and barge into her house and press her against the door and Muhsin was alive? Her main name is Fatima, and the tradition has this. What does Fatima mean? Summiyat Fatima fil ard, in the heaven, in this earth, she is named Fatima, and in the heaven, she is mentioned as Al-Mansura. She is mentioned in this world Fatima because Fatamat shi'ataha minan nar, because she repels her followers like you from the hellfire. She doesn't allow her followers to go to hell. True followers. Then we have Mansura because bin Nasrillah, because of we have وَيَوْمَئِذٍ يَفْرَحُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ بِنَصْرِ اللَّهِ. That day the mu'mineen will be happy with the victory of Allah, meaning that Yansuru, say the Fatima, will help them. She is the Nasrullah, she will come and help us. This is a beautiful tradition that mentions that when Sayyida Fatima alayhi salam will be entering heaven in the next world, a time that we will be seeing, inshallah, and that before she enters, she's allowed paradise, of course, and how much somebody would want to go to heaven. But she waits at the door. She waits before going into heaven. She pauses and asks in tradition, ثُمَّ يَقُولُ, she asks, I'm waiting for something. Jibreel asks, Sadi hajatak, ask what you need, what do you want? And she says, فَتَقُولِينَ يَا رَبِّي شِيعَتِي. She says, my Lord, my Shias, what about them? Because she's a mother. That's how mothers are. Can a mother go to somewhere, have salvation, while their children are left aside and wondering what will happen to them, for example? She wants to make sure that her children is you, because she is your mother. Tonight we're mourning our own mother, that she will wait until we come, inshallah, to heaven. Then she has, Allah says at that time in the tradition, فَيَقُولُ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ قَدْ غَفَرْتُ لَهُمْ, I have forgiven them. Please enter heaven. فَتَقُولِينَ يَا رَبِّي شِيعَةُ وَلْدِي, what about the Shia and followers of my sons? And Allah will say that day that I have forgiven them. غَفَرْتُ لَهُمْ. Then she says, Ya Rabbi Shi'atu Shi'ati. What about the followers of my follower? Sometimes today we have true Shia, for example, those great ulama and scholars that has followings. Some of them passed recently and asked about the followers of these Shia. What about them? She said, Allah says in that day, in talaqi, فَمَنِ اعْتَسَمَ بِكِ فَهُوَ مَعَكِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ. Whoever is with you, whoever is attached to you, will enter heaven, will be with you in heaven. They'll be with you in heaven, inshallah. Then this is such a powerful statement. It says, فَعِنْدَ ذَلِكَ يَوَدُّ الْخَلَائِقِ أَنَّهُمْ كَانُوا فَاطِمِيِّينَ. At that day, all of creation wishes that they were attributed to Sayyida Fatima, that they were part of the Fatimiyun, those who attributed and lived and followed the path of Sayyida Fatima. So this is one name that she separates, and some of the traditions say, separates her Shia from the hellfire, or separates from those that are wretched in not allowing them to love her. That's Fatima, to separate. And Mansura, she will give victory on the next day. Let's go to the next name. One of the other names is As-Siddiqa, titles. As-Siddiqa, very truthful. Siddiqa. A person is Siddiqa who tells the truth. Obviously, we don't expect the infallibles to lie. But a higher level of being very truthful is when a person's action speaks the truth as well. They perform the truth. Their actions matches their words. Many of us, we say lots of things throughout our lives. We actually in salat, even in prayer, we say, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, for example. Only you do we worship. But yet, we worship the dirham and dinar. We worship the gold coin, the silver coin. Or we say, إِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ. I only seek إِيَّاكَ, al-dhamir al-munfasil, when it's brought forward before the verb, it means inhisar, it means only. إِيَّاكَ, it's different than saying, for example, نَعْبُدُكَ, or for example, نَسْتَعِينُكَ. It's different because the dhamir, the pronoun, is brought in front. So only you. إِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ. I only seek help from you. But many of us, when it comes to ista'anat and help, who we want to help us is more the makhluq than the khaliq. We ask more help from the creation than the creator. But there's 14 people that they truly, when they said إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ, they truly meant it and performed and acted upon it. They are the Prophet and his family. So she is Siddiqa, meaning everything she said, she really meant 100%. Not like us. The other of her titles, her names, is Al-Batul. Batul there's different interpretations. Comes from Batala, which means to separate. Tabtil, infinitive of tabtil. Batul, tabtil. To separate. Lady Maryam also is referred to, Lady Maryam as Batul. But the meaning of Lady Maryam might in Batul mean that she was separated from men because she was never married, obviously. And that Allah gave her a child. She was Batul in that way. She was separated from men. Or to be separate from, just to concentrate on Allah's worship maybe. But Sayyida Fatima, according to some of our ulama, she was Batul because she was distinguished. She was separated from all ladies. No one can compare to her. Nobody can be compared to her. It is, The Christians of Najran are coming and they want to combat or they want to contest the Muslims with dua. It's mubahila. Maybe they choose around 70 people, 60, 70 people of their best, their holiest, maybe the longest of beards, the longest of canes, whoever. They bring the best to make dua. Their holiest ones. Quran is mentioned to bring three categories in 361 in the Quran. To bring yourselves, to bring your sons, to bring your women, and to bring yourselves. Quran says nisa, and those who know Arabic, well, nisa is plural. Nisa means women. Bring your women, and they had a large group. But we see that the verse and the traditions have only one was brought. Why? Because she's al-batul. Because she cannot be compared to anyone else. Nobody can be in the same category. When she is in one category, nobody else should be there. And you see that for sons, Rasulullah doesn't bring sons. He doesn't have sons. We said they passed away. Abdullah Qasim, they had passed away. But he has real sons that Quran mentions as Al-Hasan and Hussein. They are his sons, and he would call them my own sons. He brings Hassan and Hussein for sons, and for self, with himself, he brings Ali ibn Abi Talib. Please recite salawat. Allahumma sallallahu. This is when they asked Imam Rida alayhi salam, Ma'mun asked Imam Rida, which verse of Quran has the highest station for Ali ibn Abi Talib? He says this one. Because it says he is the nafs of the Prophet. Because when you're the nafs of the Prophet, all the positions that the Prophet has, you have as well, illa ma kharaja bid dalil, except what is excluded by proof, which is he's not a Nabi. But besides being a Nabi, all the maqam, the position of judgment, position of rule, position of imamat, position of tafsir Quran, position of hidayat, all of these positions, position of shafa'at, all of these positions, Imam Ali gains. Also, we have in tradition another way when you look at the fada'al of Sayyida Fatema, because if it wasn't for this kuf, they were kuf of one another, meaning they were equals, they were peers to one another. If it wasn't for example, Imam Ali, she wouldn't have a kuf, right? So they're at one level, meaning that whatever, if they're equal in level according to these traditions, then whatever virtue you say about Imam Ali, it also applies to Sayyida Fatima because they're equal to each other. They're equal to each other. The other name that I would like to go over, and this is tonight's discussion, is two names. One is Al-Mubaraka, the other one is Al-Kawthar. These two. And they're kind of related. Mubaraka means what? When you look at traditions from Imam Sadiq, this comes from Baraka. Baraka in Al-Kafi, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, when the statement of Prophet Isa alayhi salam, he's doing tafsir, وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ, Allah has made me blessed wherever I may be. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, it means nafa'an. It means it has lots of naf benefit. It has lots of naf. Mubarak, something that is mubarak, has lots of benefit. The root word of the word baraka, they say, is when a camel lies flat, has two knees, lies flat, a camel is stable, and therefore it is solid, doesn't move. Something that has barakah doesn't diminish, isn't lessened, it's always there. Money, you've seen that has barakah, it stays. Some people, their lives are on their way, their rizq is halal. So they were always wondering how they get such a good deal. This is on, they go shopping, that's on sale, wow, buy one, get one free, wow. It doesn't run out. Another person, their money doesn't have barakah. This bill comes in, that ticket comes in, that expense comes in, it's all gone, even though in terms of number it's a lot. Barakah is not about that quality that we think of, that quantity. It's about that quality of that money. It's money that is solid, like that camel that I said lays, is flat, is standing, and doesn't move, it is stable. Quran mentions barakah a few times, this word. One of the examples that the Quran mentions is that Laylatul Qadr is, the Quran has been descended on a night that is Mubarak. A night that is blessed. How is night of Qadr blessed? Because doing action in that night is equal to 1,000 months. That's barakah. One night is equal to 1,000 years, for 1,000 months, 80 years. That means Laylatul Qadr, its night can make somebody go forward 80 years. Mubarak. Sayyida Fatema alayhi salam, in the same way that her name, her title is Mubarakah, she is very blessed, meaning that she can cause for us many different blessings. A person comes to Imam Jawad alayhi salam. Let's recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. A person comes to Imam Jawad alayhi salam in Al-Kafi and asks, is it permissible for me to do tawaf? For you, the ninth Imam, is it permissible for me to do tawaf for you? And the Imam gives him permission. He says, yes, it's permissible to do tawaf. Some people, they ask, it's a good question. Can you go to, inshallah, you go to Mecca one day? Can you do, your intention is, we don't worship Ahlul Bayt, which is haram, shirk, polytheism. But you can do tawaf for Allah, but you give the reward to the Imam. You can do this. You can do tawaf, give the reward to your marhumi. No problem. Recite Quran, give the gift. These are called gifts. No problem. So he goes, a few years later, he comes back, and he mentions that something happened in my mind. This person asked Imam Jawad, his name is Musa ibn Qasim. Musa ibn Qasim says, something occurred in my mind. He says, you know what, every day I'm going to do tawaf for one of the infallibles. Every day. So he says, the first day I did tawaf for Rasulullah. And the Imam Jawad alayhi salam, with his utmost mannerisms, says, Sallallahu ala Rasulullah, Sallallahu ala Rasulullah, Sallallahu ala Rasulullah 3 times. Then he says, Al-Yawm al-Thani an Amir al-Mu'mineen. The second for Imam Ali alayhi salam. The third, Imam Hassan. Fourth, Imam Hussein. Fifth, Ali ibn al-Hussein. Sixth, Abi Ja'far Muhammad ibn Ali. Al-Yawm al-Sabi an Ja'far ibn Muhammad. Al-Yawm al-Thamin an Abika. And then we have, the day of the 8th, Al-Yawm al-Tasi'. And then we have the Al-Yawm al-Ashir, the 10th, Anka. So he went all the way to the 10th, which is the Prophet plus 9 Imams equals 10. The 9th Imam is Imam Jawad, 9. The Prophet, 10. Who is he missing? Who did he not do tawaf for a special day? Then he says, وَرُبَّمَا Sometimes طُفْتُ عَنْ أُمِّكْ فَاطِمَةَ alayhi salam وَرُبَّمَا لَمْ أَطُوف. This is in the book of Al-Kafi. Sometimes I would do tawaf for your mother Fatima, sometimes I wouldn't. But I had a special day for Rasulullah, for Imams, for the 9 Imams. What would you think about this? Very good. Ahsant. Good job. Remembered Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Yes, you didn't have a special day for Sayyida Fatima. It's fine. Some times you did, sometimes you didn't. Imam Jawad in this hadith, and I'm trying to explain Mubarak, that there's a lot of barakah, there's a lot of blessings, there's a lot of salvation, there's a lot of, we mentioned in Surah Al-Kawthar, khayru kathir, abundance of favor. That he says, actually he corrects him and says, istakthir min hada. Do this abundantly, do this a lot. Do things for Sayyida Fatima, this tawaf, istakthir, do things for her. He's already done with Hajj. Do things for her, give gifts for her, remember her. Don't, forget her. فَإِنَّهُ أَفْضَلُ مَا أَنْتَ عَامِلُ إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ. This is better than what you are doing. Doing for the other Imams is good. For Rasulullah, for Imam Ali, you're worshipping Allah, giving us a gift. But remembering Sayyida Fatima, giving her this special gift, and doing this special tawassul, and this, beseeching her, is something very special. So therefore we understand she is Mubarak. Why? Because we understand that doing things for her is counted as something differently. She is Mubarak, or how Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Inna a'tayna al-Kawthar. How Quran mentions that we have given you al-Kawthar, great abundance. The story, the Sha'n al-Nuzul, some ask, how do you prove that this is for Sayyida Fatima? That's how I told them my Qarems, the ulama said this is about one instance of this is her, because we have narrations that it can mean different things, the pond or different things. But one instance and one great instance of it is Sayyida Fatima. How? Because of the Sha'n al-Nuzul. Because at that time, Aus ibn Wa'il comes to Rasulullah after Abdullah, his son. Now he doesn't have any more children, any more sons. After he lost them, and says, you are abtar. What does abtar mean? Without a tail, for example, without progeny, without lineage. You don't have lineage anymore. This was the Sha'n al-Nuzul. So this shows what? That this is for, one of the instances of Al-Kawthar is for Sayyida Fatima. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar. Indeed, we have granted you, O Prophet Muhammad, Al-Kawthar. Kawthar khayru kathir. Great blessings. فَصَلِّ لَرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. So pray to your Lord and sacrifice to Him. إِنَّ شَانِئَكَ هُوَ الْأَبْتَرُ. Indeed, your enemy is the one whose progeny is cut off. Your enemy is abtar. And today we said some calculate 70 million Sadat, mashallah, through Sayyida Fatima. Whoever is Sayyid here understands that they are related to Sayyida Fatima alayhi salam. Tonight we'll be ending with how can we increase our khair, how can we increase our barakah. We said two of the titles of Sayyida Fatima is Mubarak. Some of the titles is Al-Kawthar, Khayru Kathir. How can you increase? We all want to have good lives, and we don't want to just have lives with lots of numbers. Again, there's people here in this country that almost unlimited amount of money at their disposal. They're not happy. They're still sad. Or there's many people that they have money, but it doesn't have barakah for them. That money isn't doing anything. How can we have barakah? Shaykh al-Saduq, father, Ibn Bawiye, was a person, a sheikh, who's actually buried in the city of Qom. Shaykh al-Saduq is buried in the city of Ray. Maybe you have some of your family members are buried there. My own grandfather, he's buried in the cemetery of Shaykh al-Saduq. You can visit his grave. He visited the shrine of Shaykh al-Saduq. At that time, Shaykh al-Saduq's father is around 50. He doesn't have a son. He doesn't have a child. So he writes to one of the Nawab, the representatives of the Imams, to have a son. And the Imam makes dua for him, and Imam replies that inshallah you have a Mubarak son. Inshallah you have a Mubarak son, a blessed son, son with barakah. Imam al-Zaman. From the du'as, and Shaykh al-Saduq later on would say that I am from the du'as, the prayers of Imam al-Zaman. Because my father would not have a kid. And the Imam prayed, and that later came back, then inshallah you have a Mubarak son. He writes about 300 books, Shaykh al-Saduq. That's barakah, right? Some people, their lives doesn't have, their time doesn't have barakah. Their books don't have barakah. Today, any scholar that wants to give fatwas uses al-Kutub al-Arba'a, uses the 4 books of hadith, al-Kafi, al-Istibsar, Man la yahduruhu al-Faqih, al-Tahdhib. Man la yahduruhu al-Faqih is from Shaykh al-Saduq. He must look at this. So therefore you see that some of the great ulama, or today some of the books that are translated in English, Kamaluddin wa Tamamun Ni'mah, which was a book about the Imam of the age proving his occultation. So therefore their lives have barakah. How can we gain barakah? Quran has a very interesting formula for us in Surah An-Nuh. And this is the first thing I'd like to say and we'll end tonight's discussion. Is that Quran mentions that if you do istighfar, Surah An-Nuh, فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا. Do istighfar, plead to your Lord for forgiveness. Indeed, He is all forgiving. Do istighfar. Istighfar means to seek repentance, to seek forgiveness, to be ashamed, to not, for example, to seek forgiveness for that action. Few things happen if you seek forgiveness. A few things happen when you don't sin. One, the Quran mentions, يُرْسَلُ السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِدْرَارًا. the abundance, He will send for you abundant rains from the sky. There's a connection from sin and rain and barakah, because we need rain for barakah, right? What happens to farmers when there's not enough water? We saw it in California ourselves. Before last year, there was, a drought that happened, and the farmers were wondering what to do. Two, what else happens when you do istighfar? وَيُمْدِدْكُمْ بِأَمْوَالٍ وَبَنِينَ. And that Allah will aid you with wealth and sons. Wealth and sons comes after istighfar. Wealth and sons. The last is, we see, for example, وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ جَنَّاتٍ وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ أَنْهَارًا. So Allah will give you gardens and provide you with streams. So we see there's a connection. Now don't ask about some of the enemies of God and oppressors and how come Allah allows them to have more and more and more. That is called imhal or muhla. God is giving them muhla. God is allowing them to be free. He doesn't want to, in a way, stop their lives. He gives them more of a chance. And in conclusion, what they happen to them, they cause more sin from themselves. It's called either istidraj or imhal. There's other names for it, for example. So the oppressors, Allah gives them respite. But for the believers, He takes away from them things because they are not using it appropriately. They're using that resource that Allah has given you in the wrong way. Yourself, I'm assuming many of you are parents. If you had a child, he is a very bad driver. He takes his friends, for example, and Friday night they're doing crazy, reckless stuff. Would you give him the keys to the car again? No. You say, what are you doing? You're not. But if you have a son who takes that car and comes to Masjid Nabi and listens to my speech, for example, would you give him the keys? Maybe not still. Maybe it's a bad example. Some would say, yes, I would. I'll give him the cars. He goes to, for example, we don't want him to go to the other masjid. Only here, right? This masjid here only goes here. There's another speaker. You say, good, Hassan, you're taking your friends. It's Friday night. You're taking them. I'll give you another car and another. You want a larger car? You want, for example, a big SUV that you can hold all of your friends, or a little minivan? We'll give you that, for example. So when you use a blessing of Allah appropriately, you give them more. And the same thing with devices, laptops, cell phones, everything else. You don't, because you care for them, you're not going to give them something that's going to eventually harm them. In the same way, Allah, when He sees our life doesn't have barakah anymore, isn't causing us to be close to Allah, sometimes Allah takes our life at that appropriate time. He says, look, this is where He's going to reach. More than this, he's going to go down in station and rank. Let me take his life as a lutf so he can have this rank. Maybe at this time, I'm taking his life away at a young age. I will give him and his family much more blessings. Because at the end, we are looking for what our position will be in heaven. That is what Iman is. At the end, we're looking, because eventually we're all going to leave. Eventually, either in the bed, wherever we are, we're all going to die and leave. Either some are old, some are young. But what stays with us is that spirit and that rank that you reached. That rank is what's important. That is why when you ask, and many people are afraid of death, and you ask, what can you do so I won't be afraid of death? Our scholars say, think, ponder about the reality of life. Have Iman, have faith. When you have faith, you make death look weak. Because you say, look, I'm passing by here. My real life is in front of me. I'm only here 70, 50 years, that's it. So Iman makes me realize that death is nothing. Iman makes someone like Imam Ali alayhi salam go towards death and yearn for death and call for death. Because he sees it as liqa'ullah, meeting Allah. He sees it as this dunya being sijnul mu'min. He sees this world as being a prison for himself. So why would a person not want to be free? So when you look at it this way, those blessings that you have, those resources that Allah has given you, if you use them appropriately, Allah will give you more barakah, especially for the believers, because Allah loves you. If we use them in the wrong way, or sometimes if we're not careful, Allah wants us to be guided. This is the main formula that He has, is hidayah. He will make your life in a way, maybe take away things, add things in a different way, so you can come to Him, that you can call for Him, so you can cry for Him, because He loves you, He wants that. But that unbeliever, that person that does not want to be involved, He leaves them alone. He doesn't care about him. Like you, for other kids sometimes, you don't care if this other person, what he does or whatever, that's their life. But when it comes to your own kid, you are careful, you take away things from him. Allah will take away things from us if we don't use it appropriately. That's why one of the best ways to increase our barakah and to have hayata tayyibah, a good life, to have a mubarak life, to have khayr kathir, abundant life, is to take those resources that Allah has given us and to spend them in the right way. If Allah has given you honor, use that honor in the right way. If Allah has given you position, use that position in the right way. Allah has given you knowledge, you use your knowledge in the right way. Shaitan has much more knowledge than me and you. Is anyone here more knowledgeable than Shaitan? But what good has that knowledge done for him? Only separated him from Allah. So therefore we want these resources and these opportunities that we have, we should spend them from Allah, and then inshallah we will get more, we will gain more barakat. He will give us more, because if you're appreciative, Allah will increase. If you do the shukr of something, Allah will increase. Please recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We can dim the lights and reflect about Sayyida Fatema alayhi salam, and to think about the tragedy that has befallen her. When mentioned to the Imams about when we say La yawm ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah, one of the traditions says that of course there's no day like your day, Imam Hussein, but the musibah, the calamity of Sayyida Fatema is bitter, it's more bitter, because it's the calamity of an 18, 19-year-old. It's the calamity of someone who's just lost her father. It's the calamity of the best and the chief of all ladies in paradise. We look at some of the last prayers that Sayyida Fatema had, and we see that when they come to visit her, she's making a special dua. Asma bint Umais, the wife of Ja'far al-Tayyar, one of the few people present during the last moments of the life of Sayyida Fatema, said that I saw her. قالت, and she's making this prayer at some of the final moments of her life. إلهي وسيدي أسألك بالذين اصطفيتهم وببكاء ولدي في مفارقتي. Allah, I ask you, my Lord, my Master, I ask you by those who you have chosen. And the tears, this is waladi, my son, or maybe wuldi, my sons, fi mufaraqati, when I leave them. Because of Rasulullah, because of my children, I have a dua, I have a prayer. I want to ask this from you. This is the last moments. أن تغفر لعصاة الشيعة, to forgive the sins of my Shia. She doesn't say here the Shia who have never sinned, the Shia who are the true Shia. Here it actually says the sins of my Shia, meaning someone like me, someone that is a sinner. To Allah to forgive the sins of the Shia. We're Shi'ata dhurriyati, in the followers of my progeny. Here she doesn't make dua. She doesn't talk about her pains that she has. In another statement, they come and they visit her and she hasn't slept the entire night because it's been 75, 95 days. After these different attacks, her home, they say, was attacked different times. And after these attacks, they come to her and she does not complain about her broken rib. We said around 20 sources say that her ribs were broken. She doesn't complain about her arm who was hit with the whip. I apologize for saying it. It's Fatema, what Mughayra has done. She doesn't complain about the different bruises she had, the pierced chest that she has, that held the secrets of Allah when she was pressed between the door and the nail. As you know, some say when they came to open the door, she came forward. Maybe they would have haya, maybe they would have modesty. They had no shame. She was there, she was pregnant. Some say this story this way, that how does a person hold the door so they don't come in? How do you hold the door when you're pregnant? Some say she was holding it with her holy head because her entire focus was that her stomach and her child Mohsen would not be injured. She was holding the door with her head. And she, from modesty, comes behind the door when they come in. And the nail pierces the chest that held the secrets of Allah. These broken ribs, this pierced chest, this is not what she's complaining about. They say, why are you complaining? She says two things. Two things is why I'm crying, why I didn't sleep, not because of my injuries. She cried so much that they put a separate house for her, Baytul Ahsan, so she can cry day and night. But what did she cry for? Two things, it says. Faqdun Nabi, missing my father, missing Rasulullah. And dhulmul wasi, and the oppression to Ali alayhi salam. These two things is why Fatima, your mother, cannot sleep at night. It is not the injuries to her body. It is faqdun nabi wa dhulmul wasi. Inna lillah, inna alayhi raji'un.
فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت رسول الله يا غرة عين الرسول يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها يا وجيهة عند الله چرا شب غم ما را سحر نمی آید چرا شب غم ما را سحر نمی آید چرا ز یوسف زهرا خبر نمی آید یا ابن الزهرا عزیز فاطمه مهدی بیا به محفل ما، مگر به محفل مادر پسر نمی آید. یبن الحسن، همه بگیم، همه. یبن رسد آهسته آواید مرا بر گوش جان مهدی، کنار در ستادی یا میان دوستان مهدی، به قربان صدای دلربایت کردم ای مولا، بیا بر مادر مظلوم قرآن بخوان مهدی. یا ابن الحسن، آن شب که شب از صبح محشر تیره تر بود، آن شب که از آن مرغ شب هم بی خبر بود، آن شب که خون از دامن مهتاب میری، اسما برای غسل زهرا آب میری، آن شب خدا داند که چون بود قلب علی زندانیت فریاد و خون بود، طفلی گرفته آستان غم به دندان، با ناله خل در کلت در سینه پنهان، آن شب امیر المؤمنین با اشک دیده میشد تنها پیکر یار شهیده، خبر دادم به علی مسجد بود، امام حسن میفرماید دیدم بابام دوان در مسجد به طرف خانه میاد، رنگ بابام پریده بود، رسید کنار بالین زهرا، یه نگاه به رنگ پریده همسر، رنگ خود علی هم پریده بود، همین که صدای علی رو شنید چشمهای مبارک رو باز کرد، دست علی رو تو دستاش گرفت، علی جان، علی جان، علی بیا علی جان دردم دوا شد. با احترام بلند شیم، به احترام بیبی دو عالم حضرت زهرا چند دقیقه در خدمت باشیم. انشالله یه همچین شبی همه دست جمعی بریم مدینه بگردیم قبر گم شده حضرت زهرا رو پیدا کنیم. من یه نوحه میخونم، این نوحه اولم، نوحه دومم رو میخونم به یاد حاج آقای موسوی. به خدا قسم، به خدا قسم نه که اینجا بخوام اغراق بکنم، ولی من هر وقت ایام فاطمیه میشه این نوحه رو یه بار میخونم به یاد از آقای موسوی. همیشه به من میگه حاجی اون نوحه‌ای که میگفتی خانه بدون زهر و دیگه صفا نداره رو یه بار دیگه امسال بخون. حالا امشب اونم میخونم به یاد همه عزیزانی که کنار ما بودن تو این مسجد دستشون از دنیا کوتاه شده. نوحه دومم به یاد آقای موسوی. صلوات بلند ختم کنی. بیا علی جان دردم دوا شد. بیا علی جان دردم دوا شد. بیا که زهرا حاجت روا شد. مظلوم علی جان، مظلوم علی جان، مظلوم علی جان. ای بیا علی جان دردم دوا شد. بیا علی جان دردم دوا شد. بیا که زهرا حاجت روا شد. مظلوم علی جان، مظلوم علی جان. آی میان بستر نوا گرفتم. میان بستر نوا گرفتم. ببین که دیگر شفا گرفتم. مظلوم علی جان، مظلوم علی جان. آی به چشم من شد اجل پدیدار. به چشم من شد اجل پدیدار. رفتم علی جان خدا نگهدار. مظلوم علی جان، مظلوم. بیمارت ای علی جان جز نیم جان ندارد. بیمارت ای علی جان جز نیم جان ندارد. میلی به زنده ماندن در این جهان ندارد. خانه بدون زهرا دیگه صفا ندارد. خانه بدون زهرا، خانه بدون زهرا دیگر ای بگذار تا بمیرد زین باغ پر بگیرد بگذار تا بمیرد زین باغ پر بگیرد مرغی که حق مانده در آشیان ندارد خانه بدون زهرا دیگر صفا ندارد خانه بدون آی بگذار کس نداند در پشت در چه بگذشت بگذار کس نداند در پشت در چه بگذشت من لب نمی گشایم محسن زبان ندارد من لب نمی گشایم محسن زبان ندارد خانه بدون زهرا دیگر صفا خانه بدون زهرا آی هر کس سراغم آمد با او بگو که زهرا هر کس سراغم آمد با او بگو که زهرا قدرش عیان نگردید قبرش عیان نگردید قبرش نشان ندارد خانه بدون زهرا خانه بدون زهرا دیگر صفا دارد ای انیس و مونس شب‌های تارم یا علی یا علی و یا علی یا علی یا علی ای انیس و مونس شب‌های تارم یا علی این دم آخر بیا اندر کنارم یا علی عقده‌ای دارم به دل زین مردمان بی حیا گوش و بنما ناله های زار زارم یا علی یا علی یا علی جانم یا علی این حسین و این حسن این حسین و این حسن این زینبین خسد دل این عزیزان را به دستت می سپارم یا علی یا علی یا علی
پیر می کنه داغ تو جوونو چشم زد یه نفر زندگیمونو کنه داغ تو جوونو، چشم زد یه نفر زندگیمونو. دوشنبه بعد از ظهر کش حسن و خاک روی چادر. دوشنبه بعد از ظهر اومدی خونه خاکی و دل خور. هر شب تو خواب میگه که ای مادر کبودم، نشناخته بودت اگه همراه تو نبودم. تو کوچه خوردی کتک منم ایستاده بودم. مادر 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 مادر. یه بار دیگه مادر 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 مادر. موی حسنت شونه نمیشه، این خونه دیگه خونه نمیشه. موی حسنت شونه نمیشه، این خونه دیگه خونه نمیشه. همش میگفتی که کی تو رو زد، به من نگفتی که بازم حسینو با حسن اشتباه گرفتی. که دیدم دیشب که میخوای نماز شب بخونی، میپیچه در تو تنت، تو سجده هات میمونی. موندی چی کار بکنی با جا نماز خونی. دیدم دیشب که میخوای نماز شب بخونی، میپیچه در تو تنت، تو سجده هات میمونی. موندی چی کار بکنی با جا نماز خونی. مادر 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 بی طاقتمون میکنه امشب. پیراهنی که دادی به زینب، بی طاقتمون میکنه امشب. پیراهنی که دادی به زینب، با گریه بیداری هوای گریه منو داری، با گریه بیداری، حسین تو تشنه نمیذاری. عاشورا ساعت 3 تو میرسی به گودال، عاشورا ساعت 3 میشه تن لگدمال. عاشورا ساعت 3 تو دیگه رفتی از حال. عاشورا ساعت 3 میافته از رو مرکب. عاشورا ساعت 3 تنش رو کن مرتب. عاشورا ساعت 3 برس به داد زینب. مظلوم یا حسین، 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 مظلوم یا حسین. به فاطمه و ابیها، به فاطمه و ابیها و بعدها و بنیها و بعدها و بنیها. آی مادر بی تو تنهام، آی مادر بی تو تنهام. به فاطمه و ابیها، به فاطمه و ابیها و بعدها و بنیها و بعدها و بنیها. آی مادر بی تو تنهام، آی مادر بی تو تنهام. پیغمبرم پدرت مولای من، شوهرت ارباب من، پسرت مادر، خودم نوکرتم مادر، خودم نوکرتم. پیغمبرم پدرت مولای من، شوهرت ارباب من، پسرت مادر، خودم نوکرتم. به فاطمه و ابیها، به فاطمه و ابیها، به فاطمه و ابیها و بعدها و بنیها. آی مادر بی تو تنهام، آی مادر بی تو تنهام. پیغمبرم پدرت مولای من، شوهرت ارباب من، پسرت مادر، خودم نوکرتم مادر، خودم نوکرتم. یا زهرا یا زهرا یا زهرا یا زهرا.
صلی الله علیک یا فاطمه الزهرا. ما آل علی رابطه با ضابطه داریم. ما آل علی رابطه با ضابطه داریم، بی رابطه با ذات خدا رابطه داریم. هر کس که کند جمله ما واسطه خویش، ما فاطمه را نزد خدا واسطه داریم. یا وجیهتا عند الله اشفعی لنا. همه یا وجیهتا عند الله اشفعی لنا. بی جان ایام فاطمیه با ایام یتیمی بچه های زهرا، امام حسن میفرمایند شبی که مادرم داشت از دنیا میره، رنگ بابام پریده بود، میگه دوبار رنگ بابام رو پریده دیدم. یه بار شبی که ضربت به سرش زدن، یه بارم که مادرم میخواست از دنیا بره، دست زهرا رو تو دستش گرفته، هی علی زهرا رو صدا میزن و زهرا علی رو. یا وجیهتا عند الله اشفعی لنا. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم بحق زهرای مرضیه 10 مرتبه یا الله. خدایا این قبیل توسلات از همه ما به لطف و کرمت قبول بفرما. خدایا شب اول قبرمون مولامون حسین به فریاد ما فاطمه زهرا سلام الله علیها به فریاد خواهران ما برسان. خدایا به حق فاطمه زهرا ثوابی از این مجلس به روح همه اموات، پدران و مادران، دوستان مسجدی، آی موسوی، آی روحانی، آی شمس، همه عزیزانی که کنار ما بودن توی این مسجد، حسین حسین گفتن و علی علی گفتن و زهرا زهرا گفتن، دستشون از دنیا کوتاه شده. خدایا ثوابی از این مجلس به روح همشون آید و واصل بفرما. خدایا ثوابی از این مجلس به روح همه اموات بیوارث، اموات بیوارث و بدوارث آید و واصل بفرما. خدایا به آبروی حضرت زهرا، آبروی ما در این دنیا و اون دنیا حفظ بفرما و عجل فی فرج مولانا صاحب الزمان. السلام علیک یا ابا عبدالله، السلام علیک یا ابن رسول الله، السلام علیک یا ابن امیر المؤمنین و ابن سید الوصی ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلى الله عليك يا مولا يا قريب الغرباء. السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء. السلطان أبا الحسن علي بن موسى الرضا ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلى الله عليك يا مولا يا صاحب الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. أجل الله تعالى فرجه جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صلوات ختم کنید.